The Surface tool in Gravity Sketch lets you quickly and easily create surfaces. To create a surface, press the purple button on the non-drawing hand to bring up the Tools menu, and then point and click on the Surface tool here. Next, press and hold the front index trigger on your non-drawing hand to see a preview of the surface profile between your controllers. To create the surface, press and hold the index trigger on your drawing hand and then move your controllers in space. A surface will be created, however, it may not be exactly what you're looking for. This is where Surface Settings comes in handy. Open up the Tools menu again by pressing on the purple button on your non-drawing hand, and then press the Surface tool again to bring up the settings. Here you will notice there are 4 input modes. Mixed input mode lets you create a surface by pulling both triggers on both controllers and moving your hands through space. Point mode lets you create surfaces by pulling the index trigger on your non-drawing hand and then using the drawing hand trigger to plot points. Every time you pull the trigger on the drawing hand, a new set of points will be created and the surface will change accordingly. Bridge Curves mode lets you create surfaces between 2 curves. When selected, simply align your controllers close to the 2 curves and then pull the non-drawing hand trigger to show the surface profile preview. When both curves highlight, you can pull the trigger on the drawing hand and move the controllers along the curves. A surface will be created between the curves. When in Bridge Curves mode, you also have an option for full curve. When toggled on, you just need to pull the index trigger on the drawing hand once, and a surface will be created along the entirety of the 2 curves. Bridge Curves is somewhat like lofting in other softwares. You can also create a surface from a spline, which lets you pull a surface out from a curve you have already created, like this. Over here we have initial tension. This is essentially the profile of the curve you will create. Using the slider, we can add a lot of tension or go all the way down to a flat surface. For mixed input and point modes, you can also choose to create a surface that has 4 points that determine the curvature. This can help give a little bit more control when creating curved surfaces. Down here, we have the option to create a low poly surface. Low poly surfaces will be more faceted when this is toggled on. And below this option, we can choose what kind of surface we will create. A simplified surface lets you quickly create and edit surfaces. Simplified surfaces are somewhat easy to use and work with, but are non-standard compared to the other 2 options. You can create a NURB surface, which is a mathematically calculated surface that are made up of U and V splines and control points. You can edit the U or V splines or control points to change the shape of the surface. Think about NURB surfaces like fabric being stretched over a wire frame. You can also create SUB D surfaces or Subdivision polygonal surfaces, which are made up of control points, edges, and faces that are connected. These faces are often referred to as polygons. When subdivision is on, surfaces can appear smooth. However, the underlying geometry can be quite simple. SUB D surfaces let you add additional edges or pull faces with ease. Now that you know where the surface settings are, we encourage you to experiment with creating different surfaces and exploring the various input modes and options. As there is a lot of information regarding surfaces, we have many more videos covering working with NURBS and SUB D surfaces and best practices for each, which you can check out on both our YouTube channel or directly in the Gravity Sketch app.